Now, I want to, though, talk a bit more about this whole Biden situation, because this is the absolute big story of the week. The left has been left divided by that horrific debate performance. What do you make of how the media has gone from being all in with Joe and everything's fine and there's no problem to now suddenly turning on him?
Well, I think this has a lot to do with people like myself who pay attention to politics daily, and then when regular people tune into the debate. Because a lot of regular people who work a 9 to 5 don't they don't follow politics to that degree. They tune into the debate. And that was when the American public saw exactly what you and I have been seeing since the very beginning. They saw an old man who could barely foster any sort of idea as to what he was talking about. He couldn't remember the script that he was trying to replay verbally, and so it came through. And honestly, even Republicans felt bad for him because it's not a good look for our country to have someone who clearly looks like he's, I don't want to say on his last leg, but he's at the end of his life, and he shouldn't be suffering publicly like he is.
No, it's very grim. And as you say, I mean, nobody wants to, make light of this situation, but our enemies are out there watching this too. And if you've got a president who says, I have to be in bed by 8 p.m., that's not a great look. But, but I was absolutely amused by this Associated Press headline that said quote, Biden at 81, sharp and focused, but sometimes confused and forgetful. Which is it? Because less than 2 weeks ago, this is what the AP was saying, essentially that all those clips we see of Biden acting weird at the G7 in Italy and elsewhere are nonsense, maliciously and deceptively edited. What do you make of this sudden switch, though, by the AP?
Well, I think this is they're caught between a rock and a hard place. If they go after Biden by telling the truth, then in some ways it supports Trump. And so by trying to find some sort of way of hedging their bets and not completely going after Biden by telling the truth as to what's going on, they don't overtly show themselves as giving Trump some sort of leverage. But I think it's the mentality of the political left. It's the mentality of the left-leaning mainstream outlets that see Donald Trump as an existential threat, and anything that even gives Trump the slightest of favor, they're allergic to it. So, it's very hard to deny what you're seeing. And it's very hard to convince other people who actually saw the same thing that we see, that they didn't see that very thing. So they have to find some sort of way to twist it.
Yeah, meanwhile, Adam, though, the stars seem to be aligning for Kamala Harris here. But, one of the things, of course, is that we've seen Trump starting to gain in the African-American community. Have a look at this piece of video from the annual Black Entertainment Awards featuring Kamala Harris. I'm going to need you to explain this to me here. Have a look at this.
Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets. And let me tell you, you're right, Taraji. There is so much at stake in this moment. The majority of us believe in freedom and equality. But these extremists, as they say, they not like us. They not. There's a full-on attack on our fundamental freedoms. The freedom to vote. Yep. The freedom to love who you love. The freedom to be safe from gun violence.
Adam, we out in these streets here. What was this?
I mean, it's hard for me to explain because to me, it sounds like Kamala is trying to sound relatable because she's not very relatable. And she's one of those mighty morphing politicians who try to slip their way into different cultural aspects. And so this is one of those areas where when she's around certain Black people, all of a sudden she has a little twang in her voice or a little ebonics that come out of her mouth, some slang that she likes to throw out there. But the reality is that what they said makes no sense. There's nothing specific as to what they're talking about. I don't know which gay rights that they're claiming are coming after. I don't know which freedoms specifically or who the extremists are that they're talking about. Everything that they're saying is incredibly vague. And I think that's the point. They think the audience that watches them is stupid, and they'll buy what they're selling.
Incredibly vague, incredibly cringe also would be a word for it. Adam Coleman, thank you
Yes.
so much for your time. Happy 4th of July.